I'm going to take you quickly through the first section of this sugya so you see really clearly how it works. You need two things in front of you, the sheet of verses with the 4 boxes, and the worksheet for the sugya, sugya 2. You don't need your text packet for the moment because the text will be here on the slides. Okay, so if you don't have those two, pause and get them. Now, we learned about Gzera Shava. In our sugya, the Gzera Shava phrase is Ve'ein such and such ela tefillah. That means this term, from the last verse, is nothing but, or refers specifically to prayer. This term, used in the verse, is actually talking about prayer. Okay? So just remember that phrase, saying this word, it's really about prayer. Now, turn to your verse sheet. There's a box called 1b with a verse about a guy named Pinchas. The verse is a verse from Psalms, from Tehillim. It says, Vayamod Pinchas vayafalel, and Pinchas stood up and he judged them. V'te'atzar ha'magefa, the plague was stopped. You'll see in that box. Number 2 is summarize what happens in the story. The story is found actually not in Psalms, but in Bamidbar. So we need to know first, what is this talking about? Here's the story. Pause the video, quickly read it. Now, what happens in the story? First, the Israelites start praying to Midianite gods, idolatry, and God starts a plague. Then, one particularly brazen Israelite brought his Midianite woman out into public and was sinning in public. This guy Pinchas, a priest, a grandson of Aaron, the high priest, rises up and, taking the law into his own hands, he takes a sword and kills them. God is placated, his honor's been defended, God stops the plague. That's the story. So, if you want to summarize, there's your summary, 4 points, okay, under number 2. Number 3, back to the verse we started with. So what does this describe? Vayamod Pinchas vayafalel. He stood up to attack the sinners. Vayafalel. He judged them. He judged them harshly. He actually punished them for their sin by killing them. Okay. And that's our verse. Now, back to question 1. Which words in the verse from Tehillim, from this verse up here, connect to Avraham and connect to prayer? If you compare this verse to the Avraham verse at the top of the page, one word should jump out. Amad. Vayamod Pinchas, and Avraham went to the place Asher Amad Sham. So the connection to Avraham is Amad. How does this verse connect to prayer? Well, it's that word right there. Vayafalel, which really means he judged other people, but really sounds an awful lot like mitpalel, which we know is the term for praying. Now, turn back to your sugya worksheet. Question number 5 on the worksheet there. What did Abraham do according to the Braita? Well, it says, Abraham tikain tfilat shacharit. He created or established shacharit. And then it proves that with the verse about Abraham that we read. Now, question 6. According to the original meaning of the verse, what was Avraham doing? Well, he was first arguing with God about Sodom, and the second time looking out and seeing the destruction of the city. But, question 7, the Braita imagines that in those moments he was actually praying to God about Sodom. When it says the place where he stood, Amad, before God, what it means is that he was praying to God. How do I get that idea? And thus that he was praying and praying Shacharit? From a Gzera Shava. The Ein Amidah Ela Tfilah. The word Amad really refers to prayer. How do I know? Because that same word, Amad, is used in another place where it is more explicitly connected to prayer. Which place? Pinchas. Shne'emar says in a verse, Vayamod Pinchas vayafalel. Pinchas stands and judges. And again, judging sounds and is very similar to praying. Now, the connection obviously is the word Amad. So, just like Pinchas, Avraham at Sodom was standing before God to judge and or to pray.